Hello, 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 hello. I'm trying to get my energy back here, Megan. Welcome to Let's Talk Edu Pros Across, the best college podcast where we explore the big questions about education, careers, and the future. But most importantly, the show that is empowering minds.
One episode at a time.
One episode at a time. I am your host, Professor Chris, and my co-host, Megan, of course, behind the camera.
Hello.
Yes, last week you didn't get to hear her, but today you're going to hear a lot from Megan. So, Megan, how you doing?
I'm good.
Okay.
It's a Thursday today.
It is Thursday today. We started off by talking about it's been dragging a little bit. Maybe we get a little break before it starts again next week. So we'll see. We'll do our best though today.
We will.
So, all right. So I did my welcome. Let's do a quick drum introduction here. For all those who always look at the drum and say, hey, what happened to the drum this time? You didn't use it. So there we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are excited to be here today. We're going to do our best. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about cheating.
We are talking about cheating. Title for today's podcast is the shadow side of academia, exploring college cheating. So just like Megan said, yes, we are going to be talking about cheating. Does that still happen in college?
Oh, no way.
No way. It doesn't happen. Why are we going to be talking about cheating today? So, first, Megan has got something for you all, but first, let me get started. On a more serious note, this is a topic that we need to talk about personally. And I've done promos, by the way, on cheating. It is something that really breaks my heart, especially when I see students either doing it, because we look at our students and they're so innocent and they're so nice, and then you find them cheating and they are even embarrassed themselves, and it's so difficult to get that picture out of your mind, right? And now you see the student coming this way and then you're going that way because now they don't even know how to deal with it. So while we're going to be talking about cheating, we'll look at why students cheat, we'll look at all the different reasons, and also to find out what the school or what does to actually get students into cheating.
Yep.
Yeah. By the way, real quick, soccer practice has started. I'm sorry to digress, but I wanted to share this with you. Soccer practice started, and one of the soccer moms at soccer practice, son is getting ready to go to college. He turned 18, finished high school, so he's going to college. So of course, I'm like, tune into Let's Talk Ed with Professor Chris.
We have a podcast for that.
Yes, we did. One of the things she said was the challenge of trying to get a son to determine what he was going to study in college. Yes. So again, sorry to digress. We'll get back to cheating, but I just wanted to let you know that maybe next week we will talk about how to plan, how to decide on what you're going to study in college.
Yeah. I think that's a good topic.
It is a great topic. I've always said you don't need to know, but you have to have an idea.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it, right? So, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to digress. Okay. Megan, what news you got for us on cheating? Yeah.
All right, you guys. One student at Middle Tennessee State University used his smart speaker to find answers during an exam, according to Michael Bailey, which is the school's director of academic integrity. And then California State University, Los Angeles, had a large-scale cheating scandal early on in the pandemic after one student alleged that her peers were sharing exam answers through a GroupMe chat. They're getting very clever there. Right. And then an unauthorized collaboration was a big factor in reports of misconduct at Virginia Commonwealth, says Karen Bellinger, the university's director of student conduct and academic integrity. They were so desperate to connect that they were using, or in some courses being encouraged to create, group chats.
Wow.
Those chats then became a place where they would talk about homework or talk about exam questions. So some examples there.
Great. So we're going to get into the technology of cheating, but can you read the first part? How was the student cheating? How was that student cheating again? The speaker? I'm trying to process it and also maybe see if you know how.
Yep. The first one was a
Right.
smart speaker.
Smart
I'm
speaker.
assuming like an
Oh,
Alexa,
like Alexa.
asking them the questions, and she has
Okay.
like that database, and she would answer.
I'm happy you mentioned it because I was like, and this cannot be in a classroom, I take it.
I would assume not. This had to have been like an
On
online
the line of
test.
touch. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's look at some of the numbers real quick so we can get going on here. So we joked about cheaters and going on. I'll give some numbers here. Percentages, the statistics on cheating. This was from the International Center of Academic Integrity, ICAI. The number one way, which of course, is from my experience, is usually during exams. That is kind of the pressure zone. That is 32%, right? So no surprise there. Working together, Megan read the thing on collaboration efforts, what students are doing. So working together on assignments that instructors have specifically said, do not share work. That's 28%. Using unauthorized electronic resources, that's 25%. Paraphrasing or copying a few sentences here and there, not stating sources. What do we actually call that?
What?
Plagiarism?
Oh, plagiarism.
That's what it is, okay.
Yeah.
That's 15%. And getting someone else's to do your homework or your work for you, that is 2%. So that's pretty low. Okay.
Yeah, that
All
sounds
right.
bad.
So those are the numbers, just in case you were wondering. By the way, some students, about 60% of university students have freely admitted on cheating one way or the other. So,
Yeah.
okay. All right, Megan. What are some of your top reasons why you think students cheat?
I think there could be a couple of reasons
Okay.
that students do this.
Yeah, and we haven't Googled this, by the way.
I did not Google this.
Okay.
I sat and I thought about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Megan is on the record.
Did not Google it.
Yeah.
This is my own personal opinion. But I think the overall theme kind of comes out to they're just taking the easy way out.
Okay.
It could be that they have a class that's really hard, and instead of seeking help, they resort to cheating so that they can pass. Or they just honestly don't care about the class or what they're learning. So again, they just cheat so they can get in and get out. Or honestly, I don't know if this is all the time, but sometimes I think it's a lack of work ethic. They could put in the work to study for a hard test or whatever it may be, but sometimes they don't care to do that. So I think it could be a couple of reasons.
Good reasons you just gave. Before I revealed those, by the way, one of the questions I had was during your college days, were you tempted
For
to
sure.
cheat? Of course,
sure.
yeah.
I'll share a story in a little bit, but
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
All right. Just in case you all don't know who's behind the camera, my co-host, she is as transparent as it comes. So I'm
Always.
looking forward, to her story, and I'll share mine too. So let's give Miss Megan a round of applause. I'll do that for all of us here for her reasons she just gave, because she is absolutely right on point.
Woohoo!
Yes, number one on our list is desire to get a good grade. Fear of failing, procrastination or poor management, disinterest in assignments, should I say, maybe students are not really interested, believe they will never get caught. Everybody thinks so. And last but not the least, confusion about what constitutes plagiarism, which we will talk about, all the current university policies. So these are the reasons, whether they're good or bad, we just pointed out the reasons why students will cheat. And Megan has already told you why she did, and again, it is right on point. So let's move on very quickly. Let's first define what cheating is, okay? Here's a dictionary definition. Cheating in college is being dishonest, unfair, or untrustworthy behavior that aims to improve an academic evaluation or gain academic credit. What constitutes cheating in college? Plagiarism is number one on that list. Cheating on exams, buying essays, etc. And we got all the different reasons. We'll get into a little more detail. And of course, you're gonna get students who say, well, I don't think what I was doing was cheating. So the way I explain that is, check your pulse. If you're about to do something, right, and you're like, is this going to be cheating? That little pause there means, yes, probably it is going to be, okay? So that's the way all your heart skips a beat. That is the way, so just in case, for those who are wondering whether what you're doing is cheating or not cheating. Okay, so the impact of cheating, okay, the impact of cheating, I open up by kind of sharing a little bit on what it does. We'll get into the ethics and all that. But first of all, we'll look at some of the policies too that schools have so far as cheating goes. Megan, what do you think an F stands for? Like when you get a grade on the exams and it's F, what do you think it stands for?
I just assumed it meant failed.
Failed, okay.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I said fired.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess you could.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
That's what it is. Fail. It's F for fail. That's what I tell my students all the time. But I said, you got to look at it as being fired technically, because it doesn't mean anything on your transcript. One, you either have to retake the class or it gets you into more trouble. And the reason I bring this up because that is one of the reasons where, unfortunately, no matter what the rules, no matter what the policies are for the school, if you're caught doing it on an exam or anything, that's automatic.
Right.
Now the other penalties come up to that, okay? All right, so yes, we're gonna share a little bit about this here in a second, but what do you think cheating does to the integrity of a student?
I think it can greatly impact somebody's integrity, especially if it starts to become a habit.
Yeah.
I mean, you're being dishonest,
Right.
or you're taking the easy way out, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's good to do it even once, but it's especially harmful if you
Yeah.
do it over and over. And it's got to affect your moral compass somehow after a while.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think one of the things, and again, I'm speaking here, we are speaking here as if college students are little kids and they're not the adults. So I'm going to try and kind of speak in adult terms a little bit with what comes with cheating. I actually think if you're younger and you cheat, you're like, big deal. You could go about your things in a way you will be forgiven. On the college level, as I mentioned, Megan, you've gone to grad school, right?
Yeah.
Some of my challenges have been really not forgetting. So then either a student is looking for a letter of recommendation. Mm-hmm. What do you do when a student is cheated before, right? But like, oh, that's so mean. No, it's not forgetting. It's forgiving. It's not forgetting. So what am I going to put on that letter of recommendation?
Right.
If you want to go to grad school, you got to get a reference letter somehow. So these are all some of the things that come to play. Now, personally, you lose this trust. You devalue the credibility that you have. Would you really, take a step back and be like, let's say you make it true, right? Like, did I really do this here? How is someone in the real world going to trust me, after I finish just knowing exactly what I did? So it's all that mental effects or discussion you're going to be having with yourself, which sometimes students don't realize. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the academic pressure, okay? Because we talked about why students cheat. We talked about all the different reasons. We're going to take a little bit of time here to talk about maybe it's not all on the students. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I say that, I'm not trying to make an excuse for the student, but that's why we have this podcast, want to look at both sides of the coin. So before I share some stories, I'll also kind of touch on not putting everything on the students and what institutions are actually doing that could contribute to a student cheating. I'm going to start with you, Megan. Oh, you did promise you had a story to share.
I do have a story. We can skip over that for right now.
Okay.
But as far as the institution goes, I think, I thought about this for a little bit because
Sure.
I've never thought of it in that lens that maybe the institution has any role to play in it. But the more I thought about it, I was like, I don't know, like maybe it's not stressing enough about the repercussions of what happens when you do cheat, or not promoting the campus resources that they have to help you if you're struggling in a class.
Sure.
Or, it could be an instructor that they're making that material too challenging for someone to comprehend, and they don't have any desire to bring it down to their level. So that was my opinion, but that was also based on just like my experience. So I don't know how far off that is.
Great. I'm going to focus more on the last one that you mentioned, is with instructors. Again, students, we love you dearly. I'm not trying to put all this on you, but I'm making it very clear. 90% of why you cheat really is up to you, the student, because you can decide clearly whether to do it or not. But I'm not going to take away the pressure that is put on some students, like you mentioned, from instructors. And I'll give you an example. Absolutely 100%, some of the courses, and it can depend on the way the instructor is teaching the material, are they broken down well enough? Is that instructor that comes to class first day and says, hey, you got to really do work in my class here because I don't give out A's, and the highest you're going to get is a B, and I don't care, right? So that is an immediate pressure. Again, not making excuses, but I've seen this play out. So in the student's mind, I am going to do whatever it takes to pass this class. And by the way, how many times have I caught students cheating, and you know what they tell me?
What?
Professor Chris, I'm sorry, but everybody is doing it.
Oh, man.
Yes. Yes. That is supposed to make
Makes it
better. Professor Chris, everybody's doing it. And I said, well, now you got to help me find out who else is doing it. Okay? So again, there are pressure. There's that expectation. There are students that, as we know, for some scholarships, they have to maintain a 3.5, they have to maintain a 4.0. Again, this is not an excuse, but students, usually when they're put under this pressure, even, by the way, now it's not just the average student that is cheating. Everybody's trying to get a little edge, so the smartest of the smartest are also going to do it.
Right.
But I cannot, having seen it, having been there, I cannot rule out the fact that the institutions, in maybe some way, pressure students to push them into that area to cheat. Now everything we talk about has this mental health aspect to it. And it falls right in there, because when a student is pressured, really, okay, I really got to maintain this grade so I can get my scholarship or my financial aid, they're going to be pushed to that corner as well. So, okay, we're moving through this here very quickly. We're looking at all the different places. Megan, I'm going to let you, whenever you feel like sharing your story, I'm going to let you.
I'm an open book on this podcast.
That's right. Okay.
You want me to go now?
Let's go. Let's
Okay.
do it. Yes.
So there's only one class that I can think of that I did this in.
Just one?
Just one. I mean,
I could tell you about 3 classes that
Really?
I got pretty close to, and I'll share it when you finish. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was definitely tempted in several of my classes.
Sure.
And again, it kind of went back to those reasons I listed. I was like, dang,
Yeah.
this is hard. Or like,
Yes.
I just do not care about this class. Like, let me just get it done.
Right.
That was kind of the situation with this class. It was one of my Spanish classes in college.
Se hablas español.
See, I don't even know what you said, and that's because I cheated.
Se poquito.
So, a good friend of mine was in my class, and he somehow got a hold of the answer key, the entire answer key to one of our final tests, and he and I used it, and we used that to pass the test, and essentially to pass the class. And I remember other people in the class were doing that too.
Yes.
And the professor found out kind of as a whole that like people were doing it. She couldn't pinpoint who. So like we didn't get in trouble.
Right.
However, she found out, and she cried in class because she was so like heartbroken that none of us cared to learn about it. And I think that's why that's the only class I've ever done that in, because I was like, oh my God, we really broke this lady's heart. She's trying really hard to teach us this, and none of us cared to learn about it. And we all just were like, okay, we need to get an A and get out.
Great.
That's my only time.
Great story. Thanks for sharing. Yes, you just probably have to do 15 push-ups for doing that. That's all you get. But again, thanks for sharing. Now, you did talk about something that I never thought about, is what cheating actually does to the instructor.
Right.
I never really thought about that, because again, I'm always kind of taking the disappointment approach. never really came close to crying, but it's just a very big disappointment to, again, my students. So thanks for sharing that. I will say this because usually students feel like we are the prophets, like we've never gone through this. And I always remind students, I go, the reason I actually know that you're cheating is because I've gone through it.
Yep.
Whether I participated or just know what friends were doing, we've all been through college before, so I know it, okay? This was undergrad, we had a construction class, and the instructor was known for not doing the extra work to change his exams. I was probably one of in that group of students for that instructor, his 15th year. And we looked at every old exams just to make sure that what we were told was right. And I'm talking about stacks and stacks of exams. We didn't go through all, we went through 10, we're like, no, this is very true. Did not change every one of them.
Oh, wow.
In fairness, we were not blindly, and there's a group of students, what we actually did was really learn and study the questions, right? So it could be debatable whether that cheating or just knowing exactly what the questions was going to be versus situations where I've seen where students are like, okay, number 1 is A, 2 is B, let me memorize that.
Memorized it.
To me, that is an extreme, right? At least do some work, okay? So I've had that situation, so sure, that of course falls into cheating. I was at a university, I'm not gonna mention the name, where one of the biggest cheating scandals ever happened. It was at a business school, and it made news till today. Students found questions, sent it to everybody else, a class of about 500 students. So it was a business class, yeah. If you go back, you could check YouTube, you might see it on there, and you see the institution that I'm referring to. So, yes. Very quickly, before we get into this here, some ways that I found student cheating during exams, where I have to get more TAs in the room just to patrol the room. Students go into the bathrooms, and we've had students leave their laptops in the bathroom that the TAs picked up, but because the student was using it, they never came back for it. And I said, I'm not rich enough to risk a $500 laptop or $600 laptop just to cheat.
No.
Yes. So during exams, some of the things that I have to also do is to make sure all students have their phones in their backpack and bring it in front of the class for during exams. So yes, I have a whole lot of stories about cheating. So again, this topic is big. When we started, the thing you read about was actually had to do with technology and cheating. So let's talk a little bit about technology and cheating.
Okay.
What are your stance currently on AI? Let's talk AI.
Well, I think just in general,
Yeah.
there's a really, really fine line between using resources like
Yeah.
AI and technology to help you or
Yeah.
like as an aid
Yeah.
versus, and you still putting in some work versus like letting it do all of the work for you.
Sure.
So, I mean, I think when you're doing a test, I don't think technology has a place there at all because that knowledge should be coming directly from what you learned in that course already. I think I'm particularly thinking about like when you're writing essays or doing a project, you could maybe utilize some of this technology as a form of like research or researching information. Yeah. But again, it's a fine line because you don't want to plagiarize either. So I think technology definitely makes it a lot easier for students to cheat. So you just kind of have to have that moral compass to know the difference.
So unfortunately for the students, I always kind of approach the situation like how fast do you drive, Megan?
It depends on where I'm at. Sometimes it's a little over, sometimes
a little, okay.
It's a little like grandma speed. So
okay, yeah.
It depends on who you ask.
I'll be honest, I'm usually 5 miles per hour over, try not to go too much. I've heard different stories about, well, you can stay between 0 and 10 miles over. I try not to push it to 10 miles, but I'm always kind of over. But the reason I bring this up is because a lot of people have speed detectors, right, in their car. So then if there's a cop nearby, it tells them, so then they slow down. Now, I bring this up because every time there is a technology, there is another technology above that technology. So the cops have their radar guns. We have detectors to determine that. AI is great, but guess what? It's also very easy for instructors to know whether or not you're using AI. And I've told students this during COVID. I said, everything you think you could use to cheat, there is a software that makes it much easier for your instructors to use. So AI, like you said, if you're going to use it to check your work, right? We're talking about cheating.
Right.
So if you're going to be using it to check your work, fine. But if you're going to be blindly using AI, I did a thing on AI here. The other thing you got to remember is students, especially in some English classes, it doesn't have to be English. Instructors are going to know the style in which you write. So if during the paper now you sound like Einstein, the instructor is going to go, what changed here, right? So again, I don't want to spend too much time on technology. It is great, but just want to point out that students, as much as they might get excited to say, hey, technology is here, we can use it, still be very, very, very careful on how to use it because it's not that easy to detect. And it will fall right into the cheating and you're going to get fired. You're not going to get an F, you're going to get fired.
Fired.
Okay, let's take a quick break.
Hello, I am Professor Chris, the founder and host of Let's Talk Ed with Professor Chris. College can be one of the most enjoyable and memorable times in your life. After almost 3 decades of different college experiences, I have done, seen, or heard just about everything there is to experience in college life. I draw these experiences from the whole spectrum of educational institutions. These experiences are drawn from my years as a student and many other years as an instructor, a professor, director, a department head, and a dean. But most importantly, the relationship I have built over the years with current and former students as an advisor and mentor, collecting a wealth of knowledge and understanding about college life.
My name is Natalie. I've known Professor Chris for over 10 years. He's definitely given me a lot of great advice.
I ended up completing my engineering degree and went on to pursue a master's. Professor Chris was one of the first people I knew I could count on to help me with that, and he wrote me a letter of recommendation.
Professor Chris has served as a mentor, guiding me through my educational experience. I really think that I am where I am as a professional engineer, partly because of him. I could not say enough good things about Professor Chris.
One thing that has always stuck with me was how he translated every textbook problem to a real-life problem. Professor Chris, you are a true asset to the academic community, and I wish you to keep up with the excellent job you're providing.
Whether you are a student, a staff member, an instructor, or an administrator at a college, you can visit my website at Let's Talk Ed to request a speaking engagement for a small or large group of students, where I provide strategies for the most enjoyable and memorable times in your college and how to navigate college successfully. I am looking forward to connecting with you all in person soon.
All right, welcome back. We just took a really quick break. We're back. We're still talking about cheating. Great stories that we're sharing here is something that actually I'm happy we're talking about this, Megan, because what's going to happen in a couple of weeks now is freshmen going into college. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually going to take a little second here to talk about that as freshmen are getting into college. I wasn't going to talk about it here, but I just remembered that. So dear freshmen, college is different.
It's very different from high school.
Thank you. And one of the reasons is most of these freshmen so innocently are going to fall into the problem of sharing work because they did it in high school. It wasn't a problem. It was encouraged for them to work together. So again, this wasn't part of this here, but as I thought about it, I just put it out there. Be very, very careful. If it helps, the first, and maybe this goes to the instructors as well. Freshmen, go through your policy, let them understand what is cheating, what is not, because a lot of things they might be doing in high school, which is okay, which is not good in college. Okay. What I want to talk about, because we run out of time here very quickly, is talk about the different policies. So, what happens when you cheat? Here's a list, but it's not a master list because every institution does it very differently. So, usually, when students are caught cheating, it's a possibility that it's your first time, so you will get opportunity to resubmit your work without penalty. 1. There is a possibility that you might not get that opportunity. Resubmission is not an option. Okay. Let's say you cheat the second time. There could be some institutions that give you a warning. You got to write a letter saying, hey, this is what I did. I promise not to do it again. Some institutions, however, require that the instructor report it, no matter what they decide to do. So they know whether this was your first time or this is your second time. Okay. Unfortunately, no matter what you do, if it's a cheating, you are going to get an F. Whether it's probation or suspension, first warning, it doesn't matter. For that class, if you're caught cheating, if you're fortunate enough, per the instructor's discretion, you can either stay in the class or you're kicked out of the class completely. Excuse me. Next. Now you're caught maybe cheating twice. There is a suspension, and unfortunately, there could be a permanent expulsion, which, again, it doesn't matter when it happens. I have been so far in 4 different institutions. The policies are all different, but one thing I can guarantee you is no institution permits cheating more than twice. It doesn't matter if it's the first time during your freshman year or your senior year, it doesn't go away. So let me just put that out there. It is very, very important, however, to check with your institution's policy. But again, I guarantee you, nobody accepts more than 2 of these cases. So there we have it on that. Okay, so we're getting pretty close here. What I have here is to share, I think I already shared most of this here, personal stories on how I find students cheating. I talk about the bathrooms, what I do to prevent it during exams. Back in the day, I will have students, about 150 students during exams. So that was a big crowd, right? So I do get extra help, patrolling the classes. Some of the policies I have on there is everybody puts their back in the front, nobody leaves. I actually, when I was doing that, I would say, when you finish your exams, you could go get your stuff. Guess what happened? Somebody finished exams, went in there, picked up somebody's backpack with their laptop.
Oh no.
And I was in big trouble for that. So I stopped doing that. Now, unfortunately for the students, nobody leaves until the exam is done. And I make sure everybody gets their stuff. The students hated me for that. They hated me for that. They're like, oh, I'm done, I can't leave. But unfortunately, I have to make sure. And then I would say, okay, everybody got your stuff, everybody get their stuff before I open the doors and let everybody out. Okay. During exams, students will exchange exams. It happens quite often, very quickly. Something that no matter how much reinforcement you have there, you can't see unless you suspect, and then you wait or you keep your eye on them to see who turns what in. And if you know the student and they're, of course, it's not their name on the exams, but that happens as well. So yes, I know at one point students thought I was the detective, but you have to become that. And most instructors, I'm sure, are doing that too. Anything you want to share on how your instructors were trying to make sure nobody was cheating during your days?
I'm trying to think
Yeah.
back. We didn't have any situations like that where we had to like give them our phones or leave our stuff.
Okay.
But I do remember situations where we did have to all wait until people were done. So that's one thing that I remember. But other than that, like I can just remember like TAs walking around.
Right.
Like there was somebody kind of monitoring the room. I went to a smaller school though, so
Correct.
my freshman year I didn't. Like I had larger classes, but sophomore through senior year I was at a smaller school, like 25 people max in my classes. So really, like with that TA walking around, like there was not a lot of cheating you could do in
Correct.
most of your classes.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, we already talked about the ethics of cheating. Don't do it. I have on my board here, one of my biggest thing is forgiven but not forgotten, right? That's kind of the big thing. For my students who know me, you know, I always talk about this at the very beginning, first week of class. You know, come tell me, come talk to me, you know, figure out, you know, what you could do. So it's a bad picture. You know, my thing is really, really, really don't do it. My last suggestion on here, which is funny because I was like, what should I call this? And I was like, I'm going to teach students how to cheat.
Teach them how to cheat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, go ahead. I want to see where this is going.
Megan said, go ahead. Well, yes, believe it or not, dear students, I do have a way of cheating in college. You ready?
I'm ready.
Number one, I have two. Number one, before classes start, pay your instructors a visit
Okay.
in their office. Tell them you are going to be in their class and you're so happy that you can't wait to be in their class, and you just happen to be there to introduce yourself to them. While you're doing that, scheme around the office, look at the bookshelves, look at the textbooks your instructors are going to use. Believe it or not, we think that is difficult, but trust me, most instructors, the textbook they're going to be using that semester is either going to be on the top shelf or on their desk.
Okay.
See it very quickly. Thank the professor and leave. When an instructor comes to class, he's going to tell you what textbook he's going to be using in the class. I guarantee you, two of those textbooks that you saw on his desk or on his shelf, he's not going to tell you about, and that is where most of the exams will be coming from.
Oh, that's sneaky. Okay.
That is my first secret on how to cheat. It's not really cheating.
Not really cheating.
Yeah.
It's ahead of the game.
Yes, I like that. Number two, what do you do? Always, always, always finish your assignment on time, take it to your instructor, and ask them if what you've done is correct.
I agree with that. I never did that in college, but I wish I would have.
It's a lot of things that comes out of that. Now, if you finish ahead of time, it cannot be on the day the assignment is due because instructors don't like that. If you finish ahead of time, you go in there, talk to the instructor, say, could you check? By the way, I didn't like it, and most instructors don't like it when you don't start a problem, but you just go to them blindly like, oh, could you help me with this homework problem? No, you got to start it so they see where you stop, where you cannot move on further.
Right.
Now, when you do that, even if you finish the problem and you're like, you know, I just want to see if this is correct. Look at the way the instructor answers that question. Instructors will use questions that students bring to them most of the time on their exams.
Oh.
You didn't hear it from anybody else. I'm just giving you the little instructor's secrets.
That is a secret.
Yes. So yes, sorry, I kind of misled you. I said I was going to show you how to cheat, but I'm just giving you clever ways in which to go about stuff so you do not fall into that trap. Use the office hours that your instructors have. Be productive. Don't be a student pet. That's not what I'm saying, because instructors just don't like, but be very smart about that. Finish your assignment, go talk to your instructors. The extra problems from the other textbooks that they don't use, it will be in the library. It will be there. You could check it out. There's a problem there that you can see. You could bring it actually to the instructors to see if they can help you with. All right, Megan, I think we've done great on this topic here, but I'm not going to leave without you providing some suggestions on what you think students can do to avoid cheating.
Well, I was just going to say that cheating is always going to be tempting. It was probably tempting for students in high school, and that's not going to change once you get to college. But I promise it will benefit you in the long run if you avoid it. Work hard, study the material that you're given, take some of those tips that you just gave them. Take advantage of your college's resources. If you put in the work, there's never going to be a need to cheat.
Nice.
So you're going to feel more pride knowing that you did it on your own, and then you're actually going to absorb that material that you learned in that class. Because that's one thing, like even in classes that I didn't cheat in, if I was not paying attention, I didn't learn anything from those classes. And now as an adult, they're classes that I could have benefited from learning from. And even that Spanish class, I could have benefited from learning from that class. And so looking back, that's something that I regret not doing.
Right.
So that's my advice.
I couldn't have said it any better. My thing, and maybe because my area is very technical so far as engineering goes, what I've always told my students is look at it this way. Would you be comfortable driving on a bridge knowing that your friend that you went to class with that cheated is the designer for that bridge?
That's a good way to put that. You could look at like any profession like
any
that. Like,
profession.
Would you want to go to a doctor's office and the doctor he cheated in his classes?
Yeah. And in the middle of doing what he's doing, he goes, oops.
Yeah, let me look at my textbook. I don't know how to do this.
So my closing is, at the end of the day, you want to do your best not to indulge in cheating. Again, it is very tempting. It's even more so now than when you were in college, and more so now than when I was in the college back in the Stone Age days, right? It's much different now. It's even much easier to cheat. So again, at the end of the day, it's not going to matter through college. Let's say you make it through college. Now you go in the real world, and unfortunately, now you kind of hide. Now you're expected to use what you studied in college, and now it shows up, and now you're losing your job. You're married with kids, don't have, to go back. And I've seen it happen in that big way when you didn't know how to do because you cheated your way through that. So don't let it happen. I know we spent a lot of time on this here, but it's a topic that is really not dear to my heart, but I think there's the time to do it as students are getting ready for college. Thought, we'll bring it back again. So thank you all for joining us. I'm very excited about Miss Megan, again, behind the camera, sharing and being very honest and being very transparent with us. Yes, she's going to do her push-ups for cheating in Spanish class. What are you going to do when you cheat is my question, okay? Thank you once again for joining us. Remember, the value of a college degree is as unique as each individual's journey. Tune in next time as we continue to explore the evolving landscape of education, careers, not to cheat. Until then, stay curious. Once again, we are Empowering Minds.
One episode at a time.
One episode at a time. Don't drink beer, but live beer. Balance, eat well, exercise, and rest. Stay tuned for next week. What we have installed, I have no idea, but we'll come up with something.
We got some ideas.
Great ideas. Good job, Megan. Thank you.
See you next time.
See you next time.